Lucy Parsons stood fearless in front of thousands, her voice shaking the streets. They called her dangerous, but she called it justice. With every flyer she passed out, she spread a revolution. Her eyes burned with fire that no one could put out. Lucy marched beside the working poor when no one else would. Even surrounded by police, she refused to be silenced. Her pen was as mighty as any weapon. At night marches, her voice lit the darkness. Her banners carried the weight of the people's hope. They tried to chain her, but her ideas broke free. Crowds roared when she spoke, shaking the earth beneath their feet. Lucy Parsons was unshakable, unmovable, unforgettable. The powerful feared her passion, the poor called her hope. She turned courthouse steps into battlegrounds for justice. Her words cut through silence like steel. She demanded 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for life. Her name echoed louder than the factory machines. Knowledge was her weapon, books her shield. Even storms couldn't drown her fire. Her heart beat for workers everywhere, no matter their color. Lucy organized when others stayed quiet. Her voice was louder than the megaphones of her time. She stood in front of giant factories demanding dignity. Lucy never forgot the poor neighborhoods she fought for. She marched with children at her side, teaching courage. Her torch lit the path of resistance. Factory smoke couldn't choke her words. By candlelight, she wrote revolutions. She handed out truth with every leaflet. Her raised fist became a symbol of power. Even under the eyes of angry police, she stood taller. She ran printing presses that fueled revolts. Her voice thundered from wooden podiums. Workers leaned in, hanging on every word. Lucy pointed toward freedom and never looked back. She always led from the front of the march. Her coat carried the weight of history. Even police barricades couldn't stop her. She painted the sky with protest banners. Children learned bravery from her speeches. Even the factory whistle couldn't drown her message. She stood surrounded by protest signs like a queen. She raised books like weapons for freedom. Lucy walked the muddy streets with the poor. She gave power to working women with her words. Even late at night, her pen didn't rest. Her silhouette in meeting halls inspired courage. She raised both hands and the crowd roared back. Her words became thunder rolling through cities. Lucy Parsons dreamed of freedom and taught the world to fight for it. Lucy's hands were stained with ink, printing the truth. She filled union halls with thunderous speeches. Her newspapers screamed the word, freedom. At night under dim lamps, her voice still carried. She gave workers courage with every pamphlet. Even as she aged, her fire never dimmed. She lit up the streets with protest torches. Chains could not silence her stare. Her red flag waved like a storm of hope. Women workers marched proudly beside her. She stood tall as police advanced. She read books aloud, feeding minds with power. On trains, she wrote the future of revolutions. Even factory noise couldn't drown her voice. Spotlights turned her speeches into fire. Rain poured, but Lucy's slogans roared louder. Her candle burned while revolutions formed. Her clenched jaw showed she would not bow. She debated leaders without fear. Her satchel carried the weight of rebellion. Strike lines echoed with her words. Standing on crates, she reached every ear. She spoke in alleys to forgotten workers. Even children received her leaflets of hope. She turned courthouse steps into battlegrounds. Coal miners found a champion in Lucy. Her silhouette against the skyline inspired thousands. Her notebook carried secrets of freedom. The poor saw hope in her fierce eyes. Her crossed arms spoke louder than words. Her raised fist became a banner. Bars could not contain her fire. She read justice through prison bars. Crowds cheered when she was freed. She shook hands with leaders of change. From balconies, her voice filled cities. She pointed at power and called it corrupt. Her hand on heart electrified rallies. She walked alone after rallies, but never afraid. Printing presses became her battlefield. Her worn banner carried justice through time. She looked out windows at hope rising. Politicians trembled under her words. Smoky halls echoed with her fire. She gave railroad workers courage to resist. She stood with immigrants fighting for dignity. Strike leaders gathered at her side. She raised her child as she raised hope. She pointed to the horizon of freedom. Even in chaos, her smile showed victory. Her arms spread wide as if embracing a nation. She read letters of struggle aloud to the people. Factory smoke was the backdrop of her fight. Her stare defied anyone to silence her. Her banner cried out, "Workers unite." Late nights at the typewriter kept hope alive. Even police lines couldn't stop her steps. In strike camps, she held her child with courage. She gave speeches in muddy streets to the poor. She wrote freedom on chalkboards for all to see. Her home was small, but filled with books of fire. Courthouse steps echoed with her defiance. She raised her hand, swearing loyalty to justice. Even when police screamed, she sat unshaken. Her rolled newspaper became a weapon of truth. She led women garment workers with fierce pride. Factory gates closed, but her fight opened wider. She pointed at the empty table where justice sat. From prison, her letters carried rebellion. Barefoot, she still stood taller than kings. She stood among fallen signs, holding hope. Her eyes looked into a future of freedom. She fought child labor with signs